everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well and I hope you've had a lovely weekend because as I record this, it's Sunday evening. So I hope you've had a good few days since my last video. So today in this video, you are going to see me tidy all the area at the back of my doorway, which had really kind of started getting into a bit of a muddle. Then I do a really quick tidying of our little bathroom, where the tiles had started piling up and there was rubbish to be put away and a few other things to declutter. Then you see me do some work in my daughter's bedroom. Now, because she went away for 2 camps, things had started slipping in her bedroom. And what I've realised is I've got to kind of get involved and support her to get it back to how it was before it gets in more and more of a muddle, which is just keeping the carpet clean and tidy, not putting things on the floor. And I have been saying to my daughter and my husband, let's just not put things on the floor. Let's not just put things on flat surfaces. I've noticed our little bookcase, the travel books, you know, I sorted out the top of that. Every time I go past, my husband's put a torch on it, a mug on it, something on the clear space. And at the moment, I'm taking the item away and I'm putting it somewhere else, because as soon as we start building things on that flat surface, suddenly I'll look at it and it'll be completely covered again. So I do quite a lot in my daughter's bedroom just to make sure I'm back on top of it. Then you'll see me put all my washing away outside, tidy, sort. I spend some time organising, sorting out all the lavender, sorting from the, what do you say, like, from the chaff from the grain, or whatever that expression is. But me and my wheat from the chaff, my husband's telling me, me and my daughter spent a while on that. And then you'll see me doing some work, putting some things away in the shed, doing some work in the hall, doing some work in the kitchen. So I'm really busy in today's video. Now, I've recently had a few people mention to me about Fly Lady and putting a few more things in place of Fly Lady. I still don't think that I'm ready for anything sort of like system like that. I know some people follow me who love Fly Lady. Other people just did not get on with everything that she says and various different systems and methods. Quite a few of you have wisely explained to me that I need to get rid of a lot more before I think about Fly Lady. I think you're right. I'm also not quite sure whether my life really fits with her. But what I am doing is I'm kind of reading up and watching YouTube videos and just kind of hearing some of the things that people say about that whole system. And that might be that I take a few ideas from that system and a few ideas from something else. I really like Diane in Denmark. You probably saw my last video. I had one of her videos playing while I was tidying up and I was listening to her. The other person who I really like listening to, for those of you that haven't yet found her, she's called Still Sorting. And a number of the things that she says, goodness me, home truths. She does a video, Nobody Wants This, the things that people give to the charity shop that should actually be put in the bin. Why decluttering is so hard. Stop falling for this and change my life. No more guilt. Why is decluttering so hard for me? So if you haven't found her, she's really good. Her name's Jennifer and she talks straight to the camera. But she does say some things that really made me think. The sort of thoughts like I was saying in the last video, like, why am I putting ornaments in the cupboard? Although the ornaments that I sorted out that are sitting on that little table that I spent some time on yesterday and the day before, there's a couple of, like, there's a little car and I showed my husband. He said, yeah, I had that when I was little. Oh, should we get rid of it? No, I want to keep it. And then there was a little figurine, a Norwich City figurine. I said, should we get rid of that? No, I want to keep it. So I've got no idea where he's going to put these items, a little car and little figures, because we can't put ornaments back in the cupboard. If we do put ornaments back in the cupboard, then we just need to have a much smaller box, is my thought. And I've actually just thought of something. I got rid of the flower press box and put it in recycling. Actually, I could have used that. So I am still putting ornaments in the cupboard then, aren't I? But where else are we going to put them? If he definitely wants to keep them, and there's a couple of things that I definitely want to keep, but we don't want to put them on display, I guess the only option is to put them in storage. So you can see that I'm doing work there on my daughter's clothes, and also some of my clothes ended up in her room. Now a lot of these are summer clothes, so I've put them in my daughter's old bedroom because I'm going to put them in the chest of drawers. So I'm gonna try and move more of my summer things out. Last year I sort of muddled through with stuff in my drawer from summer and from winter, and that was even made me feel even less organised. I was watching a video the other day where somebody said that they'd completely moved their wardrobes around. I thought, goodness me, I'm still trying to finish washing all my summer things, let alone moving all the wardrobes around. But there you go. We all have our own pace, don't we? And I know many of you have, over the time, well, some of you, have got frustrated with me for not moving quick enough and needing to be more ruthless, etc., etc. But what I'd like to say is that this is real life. This is me with several jobs, prioritising time with my daughter, so my hours fit around her. There's only one day of the week which I work after the school run time, which is a Friday. I do a long day Friday, and then she spends the time with Daddy, my husband. So I prioritise the time with her, fit work around her, and obviously trying to do stuff in the house and stuff outside. So for those of you that are quite new here, I've got my main job, which is 18.5 hours. I have in the past increased my hours with that, but at the moment I'm on 18.5. Then I've got my second job, so my 18.5 hours job is a job that's got a bit more responsibility. Then my second job is where I work like tutoring, so that's, I just do a few hours. Well, I say a few hours, I did do about 14 hours. I think it works out to be 14 point something, 14.6. It's a bit strange. They increased my hours slightly this year without asking me. So that's my second job. Then my third job is that I do some work for myself. I do some consultancy work for voluntary organisations, private, public sector. I don't advertise that work, and I haven't delivered any projects for the last 18 months. So that really depends. I don't advertise, I don't look for work. People find me usually on LinkedIn and then contact me and ask me if I would consider doing some work for them. So I don't look for work because I'm just too busy. So that's my third job. Then my fourth job is I'm sometimes involved in different projects related to houses and refurbishment and management of those. So for more information on that, you can see my other channel, Emma's Life in Norfolk, where I sometimes talk about that. And then my fifth job is invigilating. So I'd say out of all the jobs, the invigilating job is possibly the most relaxing, the most poorly paid as well, I might add, but the most relaxing. And it makes me laugh because it's almost like I could pay them, because I feel so relaxed afterwards. I turn up at the school, I get told specific instructions such as go to the hall and write the times up on the board. And then for 2 hours, I walk up and down, checking that nobody is cheating, and if they put any hands up, asking for a new pen or a ruler. And then once it gets 30 minutes into the exam, loads of them then start wanting to go to the toilet. So you then have to get the key to the toilet, walk to the toilet, stand outside while they go to the toilet, and then walk them back to make sure that they're not obviously looking at notes in their pockets or something like that. And that is very relaxing because I don't have to, I've got no responsibility. Whereas everything else I do, I've got quite a lot of responsibility, quite a lot of consequences if I get things wrong, etc., etc. Whereas I'm quite also pleased with the invigilating. They haven't put me in any sort of like separate rooms with special requirements. She just puts me in the hall, and as I said, I wander up and down. Although many of you would laugh at me because I can't completely switch off. after certain periods of time, if I make the mistake of looking at the clock, then I think, oh, 2 minutes has passed since I looked at the clock last, and I've got another 40 minutes or whatever. So I think, oh, this is relaxing, this is relaxing. And then I look around and think, what should I think about? What should I think about? What should I think about? And then I stand and work out percentages. I spend a lot of time testing my maths, and a good little test of my percentages in mental maths. So I don't completely switch off. So you can see in the video there, what I decided to do is cut the heads off the lavender and then just rub it between our hands. And my daughter suggested some other ways, which to be honest were better. So in the end I stopped doing it like this, but she was a bit worried that there was too much waste. And I said, well, it doesn't really matter, because we just want to get as much as possible, and we've got probably more than enough. So for those of you who saw my last video, these are for the little lavender bears that I'm going to be making with the Girl Guides. So I've got a little template, and they're going to cut it out with felt. Then they'll embroider the face, and then that's what they're going to do the first week, and then we're going to do a couple of games. So that's this Wednesday coming. The Wednesday after that, I have organised to do a history walk. So we're going into Norwich, and a lady who's worked with guides before, she does a tour all about the history of Norwich. Now, for those of you that live in Norfolk, and I know there's a few of you that actually live in Norfolk or near Suffolk, I would strongly recommend these tours. She's fantastic. She's a qualified historian. She's really knowledgeable, and she does 2 tours. She does one starting at Tomblands, and she goes all around that area, which of course is a really old part of Norwich. And then she also does a tour right closer to the other cathedral and the castle area as well. So I would strongly recommend her. Now, while I talk about Norwich, little plug here, because Norwich has just been voted the prettiest city in the whole of England. Now think about all the people that come to England and they visit London, and they visit maybe Bath, maybe Canterbury, and then they go home. And yet they have not seen the prettiest city in the United Kingdom. So that's really nice to hear. I mean, Norwich is so pretty. There's lots of little hidden parts of Norwich, so much history, because it's a medieval city, very well preserved medieval city, possibly the most well preserved medieval city in the whole of England. So there's lots of the history in terms of, there's lots of different stories, ghost stories and that sort of thing as well. Of course, the historian that's going to be taking my guides out is not going to be talking about ghosts or things that, you know, young people would find scary. She's not going to talk about anything to do with that. And then the week after, we'll finish the little bears and we'll sew them all up and put lavender in. And the girls can either have them as little bears just in their rooms, or I'm going to say to them they can add a bit of ribbon at the top and turn it into a little like air freshener for their room, so their room smells of lavender. Now, someone the other day did say to me, like, don't worry about taking long time with things. Don't get upset about people saying, oh, you're not quick enough, you're not this, you're not that. Because the fact of it is, Emma, you are busy doing all these things. And I did reflect on that and thought, well, that's true, isn't it? If I was not a guide leader, I would not have lavender all the way around the back of my house. If I didn't do the invigilating, I wouldn't have all the manuals of all the things that I've got to read for the training that I've got to do. If I wasn't involved with other kind of administration, I wouldn't have all these piles and piles and piles of documents and paperwork that I need to sort through and deal with. So I've reflected on that comment and thought that's very sensible. If I had one job and didn't do any volunteering, I probably would also have a lot less in the house. Now, a quick update on that Lego, because I know a few people have been shouting at the television or your screen, saying to me, sell it all, get rid of it, get rid of it. It's taking up space in your life. I do agree it is. Now, today, my husband is absolutely full of cold. My daughter's cold is on the way out, and my husband was going to do some work in the kitchen. And I said to him, he'd made lunch, then he was going to clear up. And I said, well, rather than you doing that, why don't you just sit still and do some of the Lego? And you know, he's managed to complete two sets that are missing. I think they're each missing 3 small pieces. And he's now working on the third set. So that's really good. And obviously, as we get more and more and more through the Lego, it's going to get easier, isn't it? So he's really done well with that. So he's done quite a lot of that this afternoon while I was spending time sitting with my daughter looking at her homework. So she did have quite a lot of homework to do, and that was kind of just playing catch up because last weekend we were at camp, weren't we, guide camp. So she wasn't able to do much. There were a few bits that she still needed to finish off. Now here in Norfolk, you definitely can feel that the autumn air has arrived. The leaves are turning, it's cooler. Still getting some sunny days, but it's definitely cooler. Now, although it's nearly October, we are hoping to do one more car boot sale. So I have been putting some more things to one side that I feel like we could get rid of on the car boot sale. And possibly next Sunday. So I'm going to see. My husband's got like a game sort of tournament, so he's going to be doing that. But I said to him, if he's happy to go in my little car, I could drive his car. And the thing that I find hardest is the packing everything up. You know, putting the tables in, putting all the boxes in and everything. And he'd be able to help with that. So I'm thinking that's then Sunday morning, me and my daughter could get up, drive to the location and see how much more we could get rid of. And then that would be quite nice then, that we'd nearly have the spare bedroom would be considerably cleared out. So I've got some more things from the loft room cupboards. There's a couple of other vases and bits that I've been taking from different places in my home. I definitely am looking at things in a completely different way. I'm questioning whether I even like some things that I've had out for absolutely ages. I looked at this coffee pot that I've had out standing on the windowsill for ages and thought, do I really like that? If I don't really like that, why is it standing there? So it has made me really question. Some things that I look at and think, I'm not that keen, but the person who got it for me, I am keen on. So I don't want to get it because of the person. So I'm not quite sure how you get over that. Any advice on that? I think that's quite a difficult one. But then I've for instance, I've got some little bottles in a little container. It's really nice. And I look at that and think, it's sitting up on one of my shelves, doesn't have any purpose. Should I just get rid of it on the car boot sale? So we'll see. Obviously, if it's raining or if it's freezing cold, we won't be able to have the car boot sale. But the one that I'm thinking of, it does run until December. So I'll have to see. So I'm going to go through some of your comments now. So thank you very much for adding comments to my channel. Very much appreciate them. I love reading them. It's so nice to hear what you're all up to. So Suzette Davis. Hello, Suzette. Suzette says, I agree that the person would have enjoyed your reactions. My dad's widow really enjoys the misfortunes of others. She is an instigator and absolutely loves the reactions it causes. It's beyond my comprehension and nature to deliberately hurt people and relish in the fact that you did. It's strange, isn't it, how people can do that? Like almost throw something in and then sit back and just watch the ripple effects that it has to other people. So incredible, really, that people do that. And then Suzette says, you're making so much progress. Thank you very much. KL Rules says, I'm a new subscriber. Thank you for sharing your videos. Thank you very much for commenting. I don't think I know where you're from. So please do share where you're from. Karen Howard says, you remind me of my mum, who was the queen of helping in the community, be it girl guides, raising charity funds, campaigning for elections, sometimes part-time jobs, but difficult with 4 daughters needing her. I did reply to say, was she there when you needed her? And was she present? That's the only thing, isn't it? You've got to be present. I do think a lot of the things, so girl guides, I've definitely become more active since my daughter has been going. So I started volunteering when I was about 17 and was there all the way through, apart from when I went to Manchester for work. I'm surprised really that I went back to guides after that, because sometimes after a break you can kind of then just not go back to it, can't you? But obviously I did. And then after I had my daughter, I had about 13, 14 months away. And then I went back every fortnight. At that point, I didn't want to go weekly, so I went every other week. And then when my daughter was about to go up to guides, I decided to go weekly. And I guess sort of the stuff that I've been doing, you know, raising money and organising things with the camp, because it's a lot of the girls that I know, because they were all her friends through first school and junior school. And now, of course, she's saying to me that she wants to become a young leader and she wants to help at guides. So that'll be nice. Darcy Rose says, "Hi Emma, great to see you working on the Lego with 2 other pairs of hands. It was a great idea from the person who mentioned an ottoman for your gardening things that would double as a seat. It doesn't seem like a year ago that you did the camp for your group of Brownie and guides. I assume it was a year ago. Keep up the good work, Emma. You are spending much less time with tidying and putting things away." Actually, it was longer than that, Darcy, because the last camp we did was May, and this year it was September. So it's over a year and a bit. Incredibly. It does take so much planning. Although I was thinking that what we should do is do exactly the same time of year next year. And now I've done it, it's going to be so much easier for next year. Because the hard bit is the unknown. When you've not been to a location, you don't know what the facilities are like, you don't know how it's going to be, then you've got to do so much more planning. But once you've been there, it's much easier. Grace Waterlily. That's a nice name. Grace. Grace Waterlily says, "Hey Emma, I'm completely new here, but your videos are so calming and motivating." Oh, that's kind, Grace, thank you. "I'm from Germany and I study psychology, and I feel in my own life how big the impact of a clean home is on your mental state." Oh, well done on your channel. Well deserved. That's a lovely, lovely, lovely comment. Now, I think you must also be studying English, because your English is very good, because you've not written this in Germany and it's not a translation, it's been written in English. And I'm also interested in the fact that you're studying psychology. Is that at university? Because my first degree was in psychology and my second degree was in business. So that does interest me. Sandy says, "Set times for these parents to text. Make parents of new children send anything special with their children. You can't do all of this at this late date for them. Get those parents to help out. I hope the jeweller does right by you this time." Do you know, Sandy, I still haven't heard. When I took the ring in, the lady contacted me about 2 days later, and she said to me, "I'm just calling to let you know, unfortunately, it's not going to be such a quick turnaround because the jeweller has just gone on holiday." I said, "That's okay. Thanks a lot for letting me know." And I haven't heard anything since. So it's probably going to be another month. I'd say over the course of the last year, I've had that ring. Out of 12 months, I reckon I've had it 4 months, and 6 months of the rest of the time. What's that? What did I just say? Over the course of the last year. Yeah, so 4 months has probably been with me, and the rest of the time, 8 months, has been at the jeweller's. Ridiculous. Well, if your daughter can crochet squares, she can turn them into blankets by putting a couple of single crochet rows between them, or double crochet rows if she knows that stitch. So she has tried to do squares, but she just still finds it very hard. I really think the way forward would be for me to do a crochet class. That's what I think. And then I could help her. I don't know anybody that can crochet. The granny square is easy to turn into a crochet blanket. She's smart enough to teach herself more stitches with the beginner crochet book. I taught myself about her age. Unfortunately, now arthritis keeps me from crocheting. Oh, that's a shame. Enjoyed your video today. Hope you have a great week. Oh, thank you, Sandy. I know what you're saying. I think the mistake that I made with those new parents was that I text them. I rang them to offer them a place, and then when they didn't answer, rather than email, I text them. And so now that's very, very easy for them to text me back, isn't it? So I've learnt my lesson. I won't be doing that again. And we don't mind doing special requests, because if you think the special sort of diet that my daughter has, I don't mind doing different things for people. But like you said, it's quite hard when it's short notice. Now, we did get this certain sort of plant-based substance, not quite sure what, and we did a separate bolognese, and I was so pleased because both those girls asked for a second serving. So I was very pleased about that. That, you know, when you're cooking something and you're not really very experienced at doing something, when it turns out well, it does make you feel pleased. The really funny thing was, did I tell you that one of the girls, I said she hadn't eaten much of a vegetarian sausage. So I said to her, oh, how did you get on? So she said, oh, it was okay. I said, oh, you weren't that keen. I said, well, what sort do you normally have? Because there's no reason why next time we can get the ones that you have at home. She said, well, that's the first time I've had a vegetarian sausage since becoming vegetarian. I said, oh, right. I said, so how long have you been vegetarian then? She said, about a month. When I said that to the other leader like burst into laughter. Like, oh, goodness me. Couldn't she have just like kind of become a vegetarian just after the camp? But I thought all the effort that we went to, and she'd literally been a vegetarian for a few weeks. But anyway, we sorted out all the food and they were very happy with it. So you can see in the hall, building a pile on the left of all things that are going to the charity shop. Now, do you remember I said to my mum about my sister gave my daughter the little cot, the doll's cot. She had fun with it, but I can't store 2 doll's cots. My mum said just give it to the charity shop. I felt I really needed to check with my sister and whether my sister wants it. No, she doesn't want it, so it's going. So that will be going out to the charity shop. And then I started thinking about unpacking the vacs, and then as I did, there was a massive great spider, which I won't talk about in detail about, because I know some of you love them, but some of you hate them. I then spent quite a lot of time in the hall. I said to my husband, can you get me a glass? Can you get me a glass? He got me this lunchbox that you could barely see through. So then I couldn't see where it actually was. And he got me a bit of card. I couldn't slide the card under because you could hardly see the spider. Anyway, I managed to get it outside. And then I'm back in the kitchen, drying up. As you know, I never dry up. And the reason why I decided to dry up was because then it's easier to get on top of the washing up. I've hardly got any washing up left, but I'll be able to then get that done and get the things on the draining rack, and then I'll be up to date. Now, the other thing that I didn't mention was that we went for dinner for my father-in-law's birthday. So we did not know what to get him at all. So in the end, we said that we would take him for a meal at the Ferry House. Now, for those of you that live nearby, the Ferry House at Surlingham, highly recommended. For those of you that are coming to visit Norfolk, I'd recommend you have a meal at the Ferry House Surlingham. It's quite an old pub. You go down a little kind of meandering, unadopted lane in order to get there. It's kind of traditional sort of pub food, but they're really good for my daughter and accommodating for my daughter. I rang them up the day before and we organised what she was going to have. So she had a lovely piece of fish, chips and mushy peas, and they make sure that's all safe, allergen free. And then we all had lasagna or steak. Very, very nice meal. And it's on the river, so it's lovely. Well, on the sort of like on the Broads really. So it's lovely in the summertime, you can sit outside, but this time of the year they've got little twinkling lights. So it's very cosy. So right at the very end of the video, if you're interested, I've done a little clip so you can see what it's like. So you can see that I'm in the kitchen and it's dark outside, which is quite unusual for me, but I did decide to just tidy up a bit more after dinner. With the thought that that will make my life a bit easier tomorrow. The recycling is all piled up to a ridiculous level next to the oven. So that will all go out tomorrow because the recycling bins will be collected on Tuesday. The side is quite clear, but there is a build-up of some things right at the edge here and some things that just need to be put away. But I just thought I'll take all the washing out that had just been done and I put another load on. And then I just thought, well, if I clear the side, that will just mean that tomorrow I won't come down to loads of stuff on the kitchen side and loads of stuff on the draining rack. So that was the idea anyway. And I'm getting very close to being on top of the washing. I wouldn't say that I'm on top of putting all the washing away, but I'm getting there. That top there you'll see me, my husband's managed to get emulsion paint down the front of it. And I wouldn't worry so much on other t-shirts, but he's got that t-shirt, I've got the matching one, and my daughter's got a dress which still fits her. We wear it on holiday sometimes, although he forgot this year. So I've put loads of fairy liquid on it because he's got emulsion paint all the way down the front of it. So hopefully that will come out in the wash. We'll see. So I'm very, very close to the end of my video now. So thank you very, very much for your ongoing support. Thank you for your likes and comments. It really does make a difference. And by the time you watch this video, it will be October. So just a reminder, in the month of October, any money that I get from ad revenue minus taxes will be going to the children's charity, TLC, and they give teddies to children that arrive at accident and emergency. And other situations. They take these little teddy bears across the whole of Norfolk. So they give comfort to young children and of course their parents and carers. So that's where the money raised for the month of October is going to go. So hopefully we'll be able to raise a decent amount of money. And there you can see the beautiful ferry house gardens on the board. And this was where there used to be a ferry, you see, of course. And then when we came out of the pub, you can see all how nice the little twinkling lights looked. So thank you very much for following my video. Thank you for your support and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!